When two souls are destined to intertwine, a singular pattern invariably emerges. It makes no difference how disparate their lives may seem or how improbable their initial encounter felt. This one characteristic always surfaces first. Many labor under the misconception that true destiny unfolds with immediate warmth and beauty. They envision it arriving as effortless comfort, a love that feels instant, and a pervasive sense that all aspects of life have finally harmonized. Their imagination paints a picture of two individuals meeting, sharing a smile, and instantly recognizing their profound connection. However, the reality of destiny operates quite differently. Authentic destiny often makes a quiet entrance, only to subsequently shake the very foundations of one's world. It does not offer solace in its initial arrival. Rather, it brings upheaval. When individuals are genuinely meant for one another, the universe does not compel their union prematurely. Instead, it cultivates separation. It draws them apart, challenges their deeply held convictions, and compels them to confront their true selves. It dismantles illusions they were unaware they harbored. This process is not an act of cruelty, but rather a crucial stage of preparation. If you believe in the profound influence of destined connections, acknowledge this truth with a gesture of affirmation. For before two souls destined for each other can truly unite, they must first undergo a significant internal transformation. This transformation is the constant, unwavering element. A prevalent misunderstanding surrounds the nature of destined love. Many believe it should manifest as immediate bliss, a seamless unfolding of life, and an effortless, smooth existence. Yet, authentic destiny rarely presents itself in such a gentle fashion. More often than not, it enters one's life by first disrupting its equilibrium. When individuals are intrinsically meant to be together, the universe does not hasten their path to love. Instead, it frequently creates a chasm between them. It dismantles their unfounded beliefs, scrutinizes their expectations, and molds them into more complete individuals. This sequence of events recurs with remarkable consistency, and it is precisely this pattern that invariably occurs. People frequently misinterpret what destined affection truly entails. They assume it should feel comforting from the outset, like a secure sanctuary where no pain can reach. However, destined love seldom commences with ease. Its genesis lies in recognition. The initial indicator of a profound, meaningful bond is not serenity, but rather a powerful sense of recognition. You encounter someone, and an intrinsic part of you responds before your conscious mind can fully process what is transpiring. You may not feel at peace. You may not feel secure. You may even harbor doubts about them. Nevertheless, you perceive yourself as being truly seen in a manner that unsettles you. It feels as though they perceive aspects of your being that you habitually conceal, even from yourself. This can be disorienting because most individuals anticipate love to be soothing and reassuring. Yet, destiny frequently feels uncomfortable in its initial stages. This discomfort does not signify that the individual is unsuitable for you. Quite the opposite is usually true. It indicates that they are reflecting aspects of yourself that you have been evading. They serve as a mirror to your anxieties, your unresolved hurts, and your unfinished emotional journeys. They do not merely see the persona you present to the world. They perceive deeper layers, which can feel threatening. This is why destined connections often feel intense rather than effortless. They foster awareness before they cultivate closeness. This also explains why individuals who are meant to ultimately share a future together frequently find themselves separated in the early stages of their connection. If two individuals are truly destined to share a life, external circumstances almost invariably pull them apart early on. This separation is not a random occurrence. It transpires for specific, deliberate reasons. One person might still be grappling with past emotional wounds. One might be apprehensive about revealing their true selves and embracing vulnerability. One might not yet have fully grasped their own intrinsic value. One might be motivated by fear rather than a sense of completeness in their affections. At times, both individuals may still be in a state of incompletion, and incomplete individuals, even with the best of intentions, have the potential to inflict deep pain upon each other. Consequently, destiny intervenes and establishes distance. It issues a quiet declaration: not yet. It comprehends that if these two individuals were to unite too soon, they would likely damage the potential for what could blossom into something truly significant. The separation, however agonizing it may feel, is an integral component of the design. It is not a form of punishment, but rather a necessary period of preparation. When destined individuals are parted, the resultant pain differs from ordinary heartbreak. It transcends mere sadness, manifesting as profound confusion. It feels akin to losing one's bearings. You do not simply miss the other person. You experience a void within yourself, as if a vital part of you is absent. This occurs because destined connections are not tethered to the ego. They are intrinsically linked to personal growth. When such an individual departs from your life, it compels introspection. It propels you to confront matters you have long avoided. Articulate the word destined if you have ever experienced a connection that persistently occupied your thoughts. You begin to notice your apprehension of abandonment. You witness the extent to which you seek external validation. You recognize your propensity to excessively give of yourself in an effort to maintain proximity to others. You become aware of your tendency to shirk responsibility for your emotional needs. These insights are uncomfortable, yet they are indispensable. The suffering you endure is not intended to break you, but rather to awaken you. Destined love possesses a subtle yet profound ability to transform you. Even in the absence of communication, even amidst profound silence, an internal shift occurs. Even when logic dictates that you should move forward, even when there is no contact whatsoever, you begin to evolve. You gain a heightened awareness of yourself. You become more discerning regarding whom you permit into your life. You commence expressing your feelings and establishing your boundaries with greater honesty. Circumstances that you once accepted now feel fundamentally incorrect. Situations you previously tolerated now feel emotionally draining. Individuals you once pursued no longer hold the same allure. You begin to crave depth rather than superficial attention. You yearn for genuine connection over transient solace. Frequently, you do not even realize that this personal evolution is intrinsically linked to that specific individual. Yet the transformation commenced the very moment they entered your existence. They acted as a catalyst, initiating a process within you. This particular type of connection does not foster obsession. It cultivates introspection. You do not lose yourself in constant thoughts of them. Instead, you begin to contemplate your life, your ingrained patterns, and your decisions. You reflect on your identity and the person you are becoming. You pose deeper questions to yourself. Why do I love in this particular manner? Why do I fear intimacy? Why do I settle for less than I truly deserve? These inquiries gradually reshape your core being. Destined connections operate in ways that are not readily apparent on the surface. They may vanish from your daily interactions, but their impact endures. They alter your perception of relationships. They transform how you view yourself. They elevate your standards, not only for others, but also for your own conduct and self-regard. They impart the understanding that love is not solely about mutual presence, but also about achieving wholeness independently. Over time, you may observe that you are no longer willing to repeat past cycles. You cease pursuing individuals who are emotionally unavailable. You stop overlooking warning signs merely to feel chosen. You begin to prioritize tranquility, sincerity, and mutual effort. This personal growth feels natural, even though it originated from a place of pain. And this is how you discern the significance of the connection. Destined love is not boisterous. It does not always remain. Sometimes it arrives, transforms you, and then departs. At times it withdraws so that you may evolve into the version of yourself capable of sustaining genuine love. Whether the individual reappears or not is not always the ultimate consideration. The true purpose was the metamorphosis, the awakening, the redirection toward a more profound and conscious mode of living and loving. When two individuals are genuinely meant for each other, their narrative does not unfold in a straightforward manner. It traverses through distance, bewilderment, and internal labor. It necessitates growth prior to union. And this very pattern, repeatedly, is the one immutable element. You find yourself contemplating them during moments when your self-awareness is deepening, during periods of quiet internal alteration, during the stillness of nights when external silence amplifies your inner thoughts. You recall them during unexpected emotional breakthroughs, moments when you suddenly grasp something about yourself that previously eluded you. Your thoughts of them stem not from loneliness, a need for attention, or a craving for validation. They arise because something profound within you comprehends that the connection held significant meaning, and that meaning has not yet fully settled. Your spirit recognizes unaddressed lessons. It acknowledges that something vital was ignited through that connection. This is not a manifestation of weakness, obsession, or attachment in the conventional sense. It is integration. It is your inner world attempting to contextualize an experience, to absorb its teachings, and to comprehend the transformation it has wrought. A destined connection does not simply fade with the passage of time. It persists in subtle ways. It emerges as you mature. It surfaces as you heal. It appears as you transcend previous iterations of yourself. This is because the connection was never solely about romantic involvement. It was about profound transformation. Indicate yes if you wish for me to unveil the hidden truth about destined love. Many inquire why such a connection cannot be replicated. They attempt to replace it by meeting new individuals and embarking on fresh relationships. They distract themselves with conversations, activities, and routines, convincing themselves that moving on equates to forgetting. At times, they even believe they have succeeded. Their lives appear normal again. They laugh, socialize, and progress. However, beneath the surface, a subtle sense of incompleteness lingers. There exists a faint void that refuses to dissipate. Not due to any lack of kindness from the new partner or insufficient effort in the relationship. It persists because the new connection fails to evoke the same depth. It does not challenge the same facets of the soul. A destined connection does not compete with others. It exists on an entirely different plane. This particular type of connection is not solely based on attraction. It transcends mere excitement or chemistry. It is not founded on comfort or familiarity. It is about evolution. It is about cultivating a deeper honesty with oneself. It involves being compelled to confront aspects of your being that you may have disregarded for years. Destiny operates on both individuals independently before it ever orchestrates their reunion. Distance is not a penalty. It is a learning environment. While you're apart, life shapes you in various ways, often through discomfort. One individual begins to establish boundaries, learning to decline requests without guilt, to cease giving more than they receive, and to understand that love does not necessitate self-abnegation. They learn that prioritizing oneself is not selfish, but essential. The other individual begins to embrace accountability, recognizing that silence can inflict pain, that suppressing emotions does not erase them, and that actions have repercussions, even when intentions were unclear. They learn that connection demands responsibility. One person cultivates self-respect, ceasing to accept uncertainty as a metric of love and relinquishing the expectation of clarity that never materializes. They understand that consistency holds significance. The other develops emotional courage, learning to endure discomfort rather than fleeing from it, and to face vulnerability instead of evading it. One individual learns to cease pursuing, acknowledging that love cannot be coerced and that chasing an unwilling partner only fosters imbalance. The other learns to stop running, realizing that distance does not safeguard them from loss but merely postpones growth. Both individuals are undergoing change, yet neither can perceive the complete picture. This is intentional. If they were to witness everything too soon, the process of growth would be arrested. The unknown creates the fertile ground for transformation. Comment separated if destiny has ever pulled you apart from someone you felt was your soulmate. Before destined individuals can be reunited, illusions must be shattered. The universe systematically dismantles false beliefs, often through painful experiences. These include notions such as love should never be challenging, that if someone truly cared, they would always remain, that love must be earned through suffering, and that another person is destined to complete you. While these ideas may offer comfort, they ultimately undermine genuine love, fostering dependence, fear, and unattainable expectations that no human can fulfill. Thus, life intervenes to strip them away. This dismantling is rarely gentle. It occurs through silence, separation, disappointment, and moments that compel you to confront your thoughts in solitude. You begin to see yourself with clarity. You start to recognize recurring patterns. You come to understand where you have previously abandoned yourself. You learn that love is not meant to rescue you. You discover that another person cannot fill the voids you have not healed. You realize that genuine connection originates from a state of wholeness, not emptiness. Share this message if you are navigating a separation that feels spiritually significant. There arrives a moment when something shifts. You no longer require them. You cease searching for signs. You stop anticipating a message that will alter your life. You release the hope that their return will finally bring you completeness. And this moment is not marked by bitterness, but by profound peace. This is when destiny begins to advance, not because you exerted more effort, but because you relinquished the need for a specific outcome. True love is not dependence, it is a conscious choice. When both individuals can stand independently, when love becomes a desire rather than a survival mechanism, alignment commences. If they return, they do so transformed, more aware, capable of a deeper connection than before. And if they do not, the lesson remains intact. You are no longer the same person who entered the connection. You are stronger, clearer, more grounded, having integrated what you were meant to learn. Such is the essence of destined connections. They are not about possession, but about transformation. They enter your life not to remain in their initial form indefinitely, but to awaken you, change you, and guide you towards a more profound comprehension of love, self-respect, and inner growth. When individuals destined for each other re-enter one another's lives, a subtle yet perceptible difference emerges. It is not loud or dramatic, nor does it demand attention. Instead, it feels remarkably steady. Your body relaxes before your mind can even articulate the reason why. There is a discernible reduction in mental tension, less apprehension about potential setbacks, and significantly less ego striving to prove itself. You are no longer performing or guarding yourself as you once did. What emerges in its place is sincerity, a sincerity that feels natural and unforced, requiring no elaborate explanations or defenses. The connection feels more tranquil because both individuals have independently navigated periods of chaos. It feels deeper because they have engaged in introspection and confronted their own inner shadows. It feels clearer because illusions have already been dispelled. It is not perfect, nor does it pretend to be, but it possesses awareness. There is consciousness in the careful selection of words, in the respectful acknowledgement of silence, and in the honoring of boundaries. There are no games being played, no concealed agendas, and no need to test each other's affections. There is no ambiguity regarding your standing. What exists is pure recognition, akin to encountering a familiar truth once more, but this time imbued with maturity and strength. And at times, even with all these elements present, those individuals do not ultimately reunite. This represents one of the most challenging truths to accept, yet the destiny between them was undeniably real. The connection was not imagined, nor was it a miscalculation or a period of wasted time. Not all destined connections are fated to endure indefinitely. Some are meant to exist only long enough to catalyze your transformation. Some are intended to enter your life, profoundly disrupt your inner world, and then depart once their purpose has been fulfilled. Type growth if this message is awakening something profound within you. There exist connections that enter your life to dismantle generational cycles. These are the relationships that expose ingrained patterns established long before you had the capacity to choose. They reveal instances where love was conflated with sacrifice, where attachment was mistaken for security, and where silence was perceived as peace. These connections compel you to acknowledge burdens you have been carrying that were never truly yours. They bring suppressed pain to the surface, enabling its eventual healing rather than its perpetuation. Other connections emerge to teach you self-love when you have been neglecting it. They mirror back how you permit yourself to be treated, illustrating where you compromise, diminish yourself, and abandon your own needs merely to maintain proximity to someone. They awaken you to the reality that love should not demand the forfeiture of your dignity, your voice, or your sense of self. These lessons are inherently painful, yet without them, you might have continued to give excessively and request inadequately. Some destined individuals awaken a profound emotional depth within you, eliciting feelings you had previously numbed. They remind you of your capacity for deep affection, vulnerability, and connection. Even if they depart, they leave you more open than before. Others profoundly redirect your entire life path. Meeting them alters the choices you make, the standards you establish, and the direction of your journey. They do not remain because their role was never to be permanent. Their role was to prepare you for what lay ahead. This does not render these connections meaningless. It renders them sacred. Sacred things are not always permanent. Their importance lies in what they awaken within you, not in their duration. Many ponder why destiny often feels harsh before it ever feels gentle, why it appears to take away rather than give. The truth is, destiny does not exist to preserve comfort. Comfort tends to keep you entrenched in familiar patterns, even those that cause harm. Destiny exists to safeguard your potential. Comment recognize if you have ever experienced that immediate, soul-deep recognition with someone. It will permit your heart to break before it allows your soul to gradually fade. It will remove individuals from your life before it permits you to lose yourself in the effort to keep them. In the immediate aftermath, this feels cruel. You meticulously replay every detail, question your worth, and wonder what you could have done differently. You feel abandoned by something you trusted. However, time gradually illuminates what the pain obscured. With distance, you begin to perceive how remaining would have perpetuated your confinement within an earlier version of yourself. You start to understand that departure necessitated a growth you are actively avoiding. One truth repeatedly surfaces in destined connections. When two individuals are genuinely meant to be together, they are frequently compelled to grow separately first. They are separated so that illusions may be dispelled. They are stripped of romanticized notions about love, about each other, and about themselves. They are confronted with their wounds, their anxieties, their detrimental habits, and the ways they evade accountability for their own healing. This period is not punitive. It is preparatory. It is not a punishment for past choices, mistakes, or the manner in which you may have loved too much or too little. It is a sacred interval, a space intentionally created by life itself, where the universe gently molds you. During this time, each person is refined like gold in a crucible, becoming a healthier, more authentic version of themselves, the individual they were always destined to be. Here, you acquire lessons that cannot be expedited or borrowed. You learn about boundaries, not as barriers to keep others out, but as indicators that safeguard your energy and honor your inherent value. You cultivate self-respect, which is not contingent on external validation, but arises from a quiet understanding of your core being. You learn how to love deeply, passionately, and authentically without losing your own identity in the process. You grasp that being chosen by another is meaningless if you have not first chosen yourself, and that your sense of wholeness cannot originate from another's acceptance, but must emerge from within. Only after this internal work begins does destiny commence to unveil what lies ahead. At times, that path leads to reunion, where two individuals meet again with hearts cleared of illusions and foundations strengthened beyond measure. Occasionally, circumstances steer us down different avenues, gently directing each individual toward a person or situation that aligns more organically with their personal evolution. Regardless of the path taken, no one remains unaffected. A fundamental alteration occurs internally, initially subtle, but ultimately profound. The individual you were at the commencement of this unfolding narrative will never precisely re-emerge. If these words resonate with you, prompting thoughts of another, allow them to permeate your being like gentle precipitation. There is no imperative to pursue, compel, or validate anything. Authentic destiny never depletes one's energy. It never necessitates self-diminishment, compromises to one's moral compass, or a perpetual state of unease. That which is genuinely intended for you does not present itself amidst bewilderment or apprehension. It will emanate a sense of security, naturalness, and rectitude, even in its unadorned form. It will never prompt you to question your intrinsic value or merit. It will not impose silence upon your voice, nor will it expect you to accept anything less than what you rightfully deserve. It will merely request your commitment to growth, sincerity, and fortitude, the kind that blossoms from confronting oneself completely, even when faced with discomfort. And should that individual not return, do not perceive it as a deficit. Do not permit your heart to quantify worth solely by longevity or proximity. The connection was never a trial of endurance. It served as an educator. Its function was to sculpt you, guide you, and fortify you for subsequent phases. It prepared you to discern affection, not in its superficial guise, but in its unvarnished reality. Fated unions are never about ownership, infallibility, or assurances. Their essence lies in metamorphosis. They manifest at the precise juncture of your readiness, or when circumstances necessitate your preparation. They disturb your tranquility to reveal your overlooked vulnerabilities. They challenge your established convictions to make way for more salubrious, authentic ones. While they may leave traces of sorrow in their wake, they also bestow clarity, perception and an unshakable comprehension that every juncture held significance. Nothing is squandered. No tear shed, no yearning felt, no heartbreak endured, no disappointment experienced is without import. What seems like a severance frequently signifies an alignment. What feels like repudiation often charts a course toward a more genuine direction. What appears as a conclusion is frequently the portal to a more profound, lasting connection with oneself. Providence does not hasten its pace. It refrains from hasty explanations and does not yield to impatience. It calls for composure when you are eager for resolution. It implores faith when uncertainty burdens your spirit. And in retrospect, you will observe how with unwavering patience and persistence, it has guided you throughout, even through the most agonizing periods. Similar to this presentation, offer your reflections in the comments regarding the segment that resonated most deeply, and subscribe for further insights into fated affection and personal development.